Hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're here with me. Settle in, let your body grow heavy, and your thoughts grow quiet. This story is meant to carry you gently through soft shadows and lingering whispers. The night is calm inside the camp, calm but not peaceful. A silence stretched across stone walls and iron bars, only broken by the smallest sounds, the clink of a chain shifting in the dark, the hollow echo of footsteps on the ground far away, the faint crackle of a candle, its flame trembling in the cold draught. Each sound is fragile, delicate, like the world itself is trying not to be heard. Shadows gather in corners, heavy and watchful. The air feels damp, heavy with sorrow, and yet strangely still, as though the very walls are holding their breath. Every whisper, every cough, every shuffle of tired feet carries across the night, soft, fleeting, and then gone again into the silence. And in this quiet, in this world of dim light and heavy air, there is her, a figure different from all others, her presence both mysterious and comforting, a small spark of grace in a place built only for despair. Prisoners spoke of her in hushed voices, a name passed between them like a secret blessing. They called her Beauty in Black. Her name was Evelyn, though few dared to speak it aloud in the stillness of the night. To the others, she was simply the woman in black, a shadow of grace among broken men. Her dress, though tattered from time and hardship, still carried a quiet dignity. The fabric clung to her like memory, threads worn thin yet refusing to surrender. The black folds seemed to drink in the dim candlelight, turning her into part of the shadows themselves. And yet, she stood apart, not swallowed, but shining in her own dark way. She moved without hurry, her steps soft, deliberate, never rattled, never rushed. In a place where fear pressed heavy on every chest, Evelyn breathed with calmness that seemed unshakable. When despair curled itself into the bones of those around her, she remained steady, a presence like a lullaby whispered in the dark, not loud, not forceful, but there, always there. The prisoners would glance at her, their eyes hollow with hunger and loss, and still, when she passed by, their shoulders eased, their breathing slowed. It was as though she carried some secret strength in that black dress, a beauty not of appearance alone, but of spirit, a beauty that could not be stripped away by walls or chains. In chaos and cruelty, she became something else entirely. She became calm, she became hope, she became Beauty in Black. Mornings in the camp came without sunlight, only the slow grind of chains and the chill that crept through the damp stone walls. The air was heavy with moisture, dripping quietly from cracks above, soaking into the straw where men tried to sleep. Cold hands clutched thin blankets, and hollow stomachs twisted awake. Each prisoner waited for the same ritual, a crust of bread pressed into their palms, hard, dry, barely enough to chew. The taste was bitter, the hunger never eased, and yet, life in captivity carried on, one slow breath at a time. Amid this bleak routine, there was Evelyn. She would lean close to those who trembled, her voice barely louder than the drip of water, whispering words of comfort, sometimes nothing more than a soft hum, a lullaby remembered from another life. Her tone was warm, wrapping around the broken edges of men who had forgotten what kindness felt like. Each note lingered in the air like a promise, fragile but unyielding. For a moment, the ache of hunger, the sting of cold, seemed further away. The guards shattered the silence with their commands, voices sharp, cruel, echoing against stone. Their boots struck hard against the ground, a constant reminder of power and control. Yet Evelyn's voice never bent to match them. She answered harshness with softness, cruelty with calm. Her steady tone floated like a thread of light through the darkness, unbroken, unafraid. In a place designed to crush the spirit, she carried hers like a candle, burning quiet, burning strong. When the long night settled over the camp and the cold wrapped itself around every shivering body, Evelyn would begin to hum, so soft at first, it was almost mistaken for the sigh of the wind. The notes drifted gently into the silence, weaving between the bars, curling through the corridors, wrapping themselves around every restless soul. Her song did not need words. It carried a language older than speech, the language of comfort, of presence, of quiet strength that could not be stolen. Prisoners would lift their heads, drawn by the sound, their hollow eyes softening as they leaned closer, pressing against walls, straining to catch every note. The lullaby touched each of them differently. For some, it was a memory of home. For others, a reminder that even in chains, beauty still existed. The silence of despair began to loosen, and in its place, a fragile hope stirred. Small, delicate, yet real, spreading softly from man to man, like embers glowing in the ashes. But the guards, they felt it too, though they mocked it in gruff whispers. Their unease showed in the way they shifted at their posts, eyes narrowing whenever her voice filled the air. They had power over bodies, over food, over freedom, but not over the softness of her song. That melody slipped through their control like smoke, untouchable, unbreakable. They sensed something dangerous in it, not in volume, not in defiance, but in its quiet resilience. The strength of her softness unsettled them, and in the silence after her final note, the whole camp knew she was more powerful than she appeared. The day the new commandant arrived, the air itself seemed to grow heavier. His presence filled the camp with a sharpness that cut through every corner. His boots struck hard against the stone, each step a warning, each glance a threat. His face was carved in anger. His voice carried no warmth, only commands barked like gunfire. He wasted no time in making his will known. The singing, the humming in the night, it would stop. He called it weakness. He called it disorder. He demanded silence where her song had once lived. The words spread quickly, carried from cell to cell, and a hush fell over the prisoners. Not the ordinary hush of exhaustion, but a deeper silence, heavy with fear. The men who had leaned close to hear her voice now kept their heads low, their shoulders tense. Every ear waited for her response, but Evelyn did not rush to speak. Instead, she lifted her gaze, her eyes calm, unshaken, like still water reflecting moonlight. The guards watched her closely, expecting protest or submission, yet she gave them neither. She met their anger with silence, not the silence of defeat, but the silence of quiet strength. The prisoners held their breath, uncertain, trembling, afraid of what her choice might bring upon them all. In that stillness, the camp felt suspended, as though time itself had paused to witness the moment. And through it all, her calm eyes told a truth that words could not, that even under threat, beauty in black would not be broken. That night, when the camp lay deep in shadow, and the guards believed fear had silenced her forever, Evelyn began to sing. Her voice rose soft and steady, a haunting thread of sound weaving through the darkness. It was not loud, it was not rushed, but it was unstoppable. Each note floated gently into the still air, curling through corridors, slipping beneath doors, reaching ears that had waited in hunger for its return. The prisoners stirred, their hearts aching with relief, their eyes lifting in the dark as if the sound itself gave them breath. The moonlight fell across her dress, black fabric catching silver glimmers with each small movement. The folds shimmered like water, turning her into something more than a prisoner, more than a woman bound by walls. She became an image, a figure of defiance wrapped in quiet beauty, a flame burning slow but steady in the midnight hour. The guards shifted uneasily, their boots scraping against stone, their eyes drawn against their will to her silhouette. Her song carried farther than any voice should, beyond bars, beyond the wooden gates, into the night air outside the camp. It was delicate, fragile as a whisper, yet unyielding. The melody could not be chained, could not be broken. It rose above cruelty, above commands, above fear. The prisoners leaned close once more, their shoulders brushing, their breaths sinking with the rhythm, and in that moment they knew the truth, that softness had become their strongest weapon, and that beauty in black had defied the silence. Morning came slow, the camp waking in muted groans, chains shifting, boots echoing on stone, and yet something had changed. Among the rough sounds of order and command, there was a small gesture, delicate as breath. A guard, face stern as always, passed by her cell and without a word, slipped something through the bars. It was only a scrap of black cloth, frayed at the edges, but folded neatly, deliberately. His eyes never met hers, his steps never paused, yet the meaning was clear, a tribute, silent, unspoken, a recognition that even within these walls, Beauty could not be erased. Evelyn lifted the fabric, pressing it gently to her cheek. The black silk caught the faintest glow of the candle beside her, a fragile flame trembling in the draught. She closed her eyes and began to hum once more, softer than ever before, a melody so faint it was almost part of the silence itself. But those near her cell leaned close, listening, breathing slower, finding comfort in each gentle note. Her song was no longer just defiance. It was peace. It was endurance. It was hope that would not die. The candle flickered, shadows bending across the stone, her voice wrapping around every corner, holding despair at bay for just a little longer. And in that stillness, in that fragile moment of quiet, one truth remained. In the heart of darkness, beauty in black endured.